Hello there. I'm back. Did you miss me?
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 231 of the ProSynth Network show, live here on Friday, the 6th of September, 2024. I hope you are well since last we met. And I am not going to lie, I've only been away from the show like a week, and it feels like I've forgotten how to do everything. So if I make mistakes, that's probably why. Anyway, back from me, Hollybobs. We're back again. We've got a ton of news to go through. We may not even get through it all, but we've got that much. It's one of those feast and famine things, like famine last week, feast this week. I think they were just waiting for me to get back from holiday or vacation, as they say across the pond. But anyway, we're here, and we'll crack on through that, and we've got some wonderful people on the show to help us discuss and contemplate and cogitate and masticate. I said masticate over the week's news topics. We've also got a very special guest announcement coming later in the show. Yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave it right maybe to the end to announce a very special guest next week. I posted something in the Facebook group. Nobody got it yet.
Is it Ken Dodd?
I wish it was. I wish it was.
Difficult it being Ken Dodd.
Yeah, it would be slightly smelly, but funny nonetheless. Anyway, so yeah, we'll talk about that later. Before we do, whilst we're waiting, give us a like, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if that's what you feel. But I guess if you're here, maybe you do like what we do. So tell us, like us on every show, give us a thumbs up. It helps with algorithms and stuff that I don't understand. If you want to comment during the show, then of course do so using the chat. And because we're broadcasting on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook, and we're doing all of those three platforms live, you can comment in those platforms and we see all those comments. And, you know, please interact with the show, because we do this for you. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, and we prefer the YouTube stuff, but if Twitch is your thing or Facebook, whatever, just give us a subscribe and make sure that you get notified of all the shows that we do, whether they're the weekly shows or the impromptu stuff that we sometimes do in between. That would be great. And if you know somebody who would appreciate the show but doesn't watch it may be blissfully unaware that we exist, then brighten their lives by giving them the gift of the ProSynth Network and sharing our YouTube channel link with them. That would be fantastic. If you want to support us, because we are completely not-for-profit, all the money that we raise through your donations is plowed back into the channel to keep it going. We've invested significantly, actually, in the last few weeks in some new software, which we hope to bring online soon once I learn how to use it all. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that you help us do, and you help us pay the bills, and that's fantastic. If you want to do that, the best way, the absolute best way, is to do that on Patreon. And Patreon is patreon.com/ProSynth Network. Give us a subscribe on there. It's a minimum, just an absolute bare minimum of $2, which is what, I don't know, £1.23 or something. You can do that, and it's a monthly subscription. You can join, you can leave, you can join again and leave again. It's entirely up to you. You can pledge more if you like, but all of that money comes back into the channel and helps keep us on air. And you could do the same with YouTube memberships as well. You can be a channel member. It's exactly the same, minimum of $2, and you get all of the good stuff as well. So you get stuff like, let's see if I can share my screen here. Here we go. So you get this fugly git. Where is he? There he is. He's done, this is now actually publicly available, but this was an exclusive. This is Andrew doing his ELZ1 Play unboxing video. There's 3/4 of an hour of gorgeous Mr. Longhurst playing with his toys. So yeah, you get that. You get free sounds as well. So you get exclusive stuff. There's some Polybrute demos. And we make these exclusive for a short while for our channel members and subscribers, because they deserve the good stuff. And so there's exclusive videos. We did a super booth walkabout, and there's free patches for Cherry Audio synths and modal synths, and there's also free patches for, I think it's the Korg Wavestate JDXA as well, Hydra synth. If you subscribe, you get access to all of that. So it's we give back. We like to give back.
We do.
So that's the Patreon, and of course we do try and duplicate all of those with the YouTube members as well. It's a little bit more difficult to distribute, but we do our best, and maybe Patreon is the best way to do it. I don't know. Some people, some crazy people, not too far away from here, subscribe to both, which is interesting. So there is that. Somebody's just rung my front doorbell. You can also follow us on
Special
TikTok.
delivery.
I know. This can't be dinner because we've all been fed, so I don't know who that is. You can follow us on TikTok. There's a little experiment that we did because our very good friend Ian Cole had enormous success, and he couldn't fathom why he had enormous success with hundreds and literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views on what he called pretty, standard boring videos of him talking about things at Edinburgh Fringe Festival. So I thought, well, that sounds easy. Let's put some videos up. I don't think one of them has reached 100, let alone 100,000. And I think if you add them all together, it's barely 150.
We're stars. We're luminaries.
We're so down with the social media stuff. Anyway, if you do TikTok, then do give us a follow and a like and whatever you do over there as well, because that would be fun just to see if that works. Anyway, last thing, if you have a question for any of our guests or for us, the panel, talking about any of the subjects, please stick a big capital Q in front of your question so it helps us identify it and put it into the question bucket, which we will then go to and ask. So thank you very much indeed. That is everything. My first order of business today is to say thank you. To thank you to Mr. Longhurst, to Mr. Spong, and to Mr. Metley for last week, where they admirably held the ship together, stop it from hitting the rocks, and guided us safely through the passage of, I don't know, whoever's passage it might be, and got to the end of the show.
Dr. Metley, peasant.
It's just so fussy. Honestly, it's a good job they don't have the honour system out there, isn't it? Because it would be Sir Mike Medley, Sir, Dr. Sir, Professor Dr. Sir.
Actually, I'm Dr. Lord Mike
physicist.
Metley, if you really need to know.
Dr. what, sorry?
Dr. Lord Mike Metley.
Dr.
Lord
Mike
I
Metley.
own 1 square foot of Scotland.
For a minute, I thought you were going to say you're at Sealand or something.
That doesn't make you a lord. That makes you a laird.
That makes you a horrible landowner.
It makes you
Peasants
another
are revolting.
tonk.
Anyway, those voices that you hear, we'll be introducing. But I just wanted to say, put it on record, thanks to Spong, Longhurst, and Metley, who held everything together admirably last week. Thank you for that. Let's meet them. Now, before we do, actually, Kent isn't here, which is why you're hearing all of those other voices, because Kent is not feeling very well, so he's signed off sick. We hope that he's going to feel better very, very soon, but he sends his best. And if you're watching, Kent, mwah, love you. Hi to everyone, to Fiona and the dogs and everything. And just look after yourself. Get better soon, mate. And we will see him back shortly, I hope. But let's bring in the other person that held the show together. No, get that thing down. Don't want to see that.
No, because I promised. He hasn't been on for a while, and I promised. He made me promise.
Did he?
On pain of penguinicity.
How old are you?
196.
Yeah, about that. They say you regress, don't you? So
yeah.
Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. Listen, Kent, get well, mate. I hope you're getting plenty of rest. And we look forward to seeing you again really soon in the fullness of time. I'm good. Yeah, things are. I've had a very good week, one way and another. So
well done. Lyric 2.
Yep. Sometimes you have times in life where you ponder whether or not everything is all as it should be, and what you're going to do next, and what your direction of travel is. And I had one of those recently with a death in the family, and it's all good. It's not good, but Yeah. But out of it, a direction has become very, very clear, and I'm feeling happier and more relaxed than I have done for ages. So
good. I'm
happy bunny.
Jolly good. I'm very glad to hear it. Very glad to hear it. thank you again for last week, and we'll come back to you shortly, Mr.
Good.
Andrew Longhurst, everyone. So you heard some other voices there. I'm going to bring in. I'm going to leave the. Shall I say I'll leave the best till last? That'll give them a quandary. I'm going to go up to Yorkshire
Yorkshire.
and Catweasel.
Catweasel. Catweasel.
Hello,
Yeah.
Mr. Brooks. How are you?
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, thanks for asking
Good.
me to come on to plug a largely unpluggable hole, if you allow me to say it.
He's
Well,
quite
yeah,
svelte, is Ken. He's not that.
get well soon, Ken. We
Yeah.
miss you.
Yeah. And are you well?
Yeah. Well, I'm back at work. It's gone through the usual rigmarole of 2 inset days where people talk at you, and then the kids coming back in. It's been lovely, actually. It's been really, really nice. No going back to school anxiety or anything like that for the first time in ages, which has been a
Good.
bonus.
Yeah.
And actually had a very, very busy end to the school holiday. Sorry I wasn't around last Friday while the other guys were sort of filling in for your absence, but Grace and I were rehearsing because we played at the Off the Tracks Festival on last Saturday.
How did it go?
It was brilliant. It was great. It was what a lovely, lovely event and an absolutely fabulous festival full of fabulous people. It's not that great big. It's not a big Larry event. There's no corporate crap. It's just a nice event. The main stage seemed to have only one prerequisite for performing on the main stage, and that was you had to have somebody playing a fiddle. But other than that, it was brilliant. It was great. And then, so we were playing in one of the smaller stages. There's an introducing stage which James Glue was organising. So James was there. He was playing, and also Battery Operated Orchestra were playing on the same bill on the same day. So it was great. So we got to meet Chris and Bree and see their set, and it was phenomenal. It was strange because the room thing that we were in, which was like a sort of a barn, would empty. Once an act had finished, everyone would sort of clear off and go somewhere else. So when you started your set, you were playing to an empty room. We've sort of been pre-warned about this. They said, but start and people will come in. And by the end of each of these sets, by the end of Jim's set, Callum Holmes, Clum, by the end of his set, Battery Operated, the room was rammed with people dancing the tits off. It was great. It was a really fab festival. I enjoyed it immensely, and I hope to be able to go back again, either as a performer or as a punter. It was really
Nice.
good. I thoroughly recommend it. If you want a nice end to your summer holidays, the Off the Tracks Festival at Castle Donington is fully recommended by me.
Excellent stuff. Good. Sorry, I just had an incident. There's things happening outside the studio, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I hear something behind me. My littlest cat. Man, because when you move things round, cats just want to go in there and say, what's going on here? And she hidden over there, and they were looking for her. They thought she'd escaped and gone.
She's hidden inside the DX1.
There's not much room in there, but it's warm. Sorry about that. So brilliant stuff. Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Andy, of course, is one of our moderators in the chat. I know Andy Synth Addict. I've seen him in there, although he said he's running errands, which is fine. And I didn't see Ben in there yet. Maybe he's there lurking. Make yourself known. And Kate's there as well. But these guys look after the chat room, but there's not much looking after to do. But one of the great things they do is they post links into the chat for things that we're talking about so that you can click on them and save them to look at later, because you don't want to be distracted from the live show. Of course, if you're watching on catch up, you can just pause, which is great. I think you can pause live as well. That's whatever. Technology is marvellous, isn't it? Last but not least, by no means whatsoever, broadcasting live to the entire world through the channel of ProSynth Network from KnobCon in Chicagoland, USA. It's the one and the only, mustn't forget, Dr. Mike Metley.
Hello, all you nice people in the computer.
Hello.
Before we start, give me 1 second. Hey! KnobCon. We are live worldwide on ProSynth Network. Anybody want to come over and wave at the camera? We're glad to have you.
Jesus.
Oh,
Come on, guys.
Only Mike.
hey.
Hiya, guys. Say hello, Dr. Mike.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And now the connection's back. There we go. Look at that. Amazing.
Oh, the Yetis have
One hand,
arrived.
everybody. One hand, and John Mahoney's here. Bunch of friends. The Rocky Mountain Synth meetup people haven't gotten in yet, but we're super glad to be here. And hey, you know what? I'm going to walk you around and show you a couple of these things before we get started. Okay?
Go on then.
We're in the lobby.
Go on. Get up
Big
and
quick.
Is not getting set up for about 4 hours, and but people are set up on one of the main conference tables, just showing off their rigs. Let me just very quickly run you through and show you just a couple of things. Okay, are we good?
Go, quick.
Okay.
We haven't got much time.
Here we go. I'm on batteries. Let's see how long this lasts. Okay, so for those of you who have never seen the Oxy before,
Oxy.
it's being demonstrated
Bitbox
by
Micro.
none other than Dave Soto. He's the head of the Colorado Modular Synth Society, and he's here showing off stuff. We've got beautiful little traveling modular rig here. There we go. And fairly massive one here, but the real treat. Hold on a second. More modular. People saying hello. You guys have got to see this. Ready?
Go on.
Okay, check this out.
Oh, this is brilliant. I love
Oh,
this.
for God's sakes.
Absolutely love this thing.
This is a homemade modular with soup cans as the modules. It's incredibly powerful and incredibly beautiful. You've never seen anything like it. And it's a fixture at KnobCon every year. And the
It's
genius
mad,
who
isn't
made it. Hi, I'm Money Dog.
Hi,
And
everyone.
this is just amazing stuff. And there's going to be a lot more. Say hi, Dale.
Hi, Dale. Oh, sorry.
There's Mahoney. But yeah, this is the kind of thing that's happening. We already have probably 50 people here in the lobby, and it's only just going to get better. Oh, hey, here's somebody you got to say hi to.
Kim.
Hello,
Here,
Kim.
he made it.
We love you, Kim.
And he may just have 8 copies of a particular book in his suitcase.
Really? You
Maybe.
do surprise me.
I can't say. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks. Sorry.
No,
really had to
thank
do
you.
that. Had to do that.
Thanks again for last week, and also thank you for joining us this week as well. At such short notice, the both of you, at such short notice, you guys absolutely rock, and I love you for it. So if I had the applause sound effect, I would be playing it ad infinitum.
Now, for me, you
And the
use
crowd goes
crickets.
wild. Thank you. And of course, thank you to everyone that's watching. There's loads of people watching, loads of people in the chat. I wish I could keep up with it all, but I can't. But you're all very, very lovely. And thank you so much for joining us.
If my background noise gets too much, they have turned down. But if my background noise gets too much to hear, my fellow host will tell me, or say something in chat. It's getting to be a real problem.
We'll just do the we'll just do the mute thing. It's okay. It's not a problem. It's great that you're here, and it's great that you're at KnobCon. I was seriously after Super Booth. It was just like, I've got to go to something else. I need to go to something else, and that's one I really, really want to go to. But things transpired, and it didn't work out.
Rob, if you ever make it, it's very much like Super Booth, but I should warn you, it's much, much smaller. There'll be fewer than 1,000 people.
Well, I've yet to see a proper synthesizer. Sorry, it had to be done.
No, it didn't,
Moving on.
Robbie. Go and stick
Moving
your head
on.
in a soup can. Then
Well,
build a modular out of
Yeah,
it.
I was going to say, I could stick my head in quite a few soup cans just there. Guys, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that's watching. Love you all very, very much indeed. Put your spaghetti away. I've just come back from Italy. Jeez. So let's crack on with some news topics. There's so much to talk about, and I'm not entirely
Then
sure
pick
where to
one.
start. Yeah, I'm just which one do I do? Oh, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go to my videos and I'll pick the first one that comes up, and that is going to be this one.
GG Audio's Blue 3 tone wheel organ is back. Better and even more affordable, courtesy of Cherry Audio. Blue 3 is a meticulously modeled virtual instrument, not sampled, and replicates the world's most famous tone wheel organs. It accurately captures the variations with 31 tone wheel sets, 91 modeled tone wheels with phase synchronization, and authentically emulated scanner vibrato chorus. Cherry Audio's Blue 3 has a new, beautifully designed interface with main, edit, cabinet, and perform sections. And it goes beyond the traditional B3 sound with the addition of 3 studio-quality Stompbox-style effects. Blue 3 offers full polyphony for upper, lower, and pedal manuals, a keyboard split function, and handy drawbar utilities for copy, swap, reset, and randomize. Tones.
We're going to leave it there because it goes on a little bit longer than that. But that's the new instrument from Cherry Audio. I say new, it's not technically new. So what happened earlier on this year, and you might remember when we spoke to Dan and Mitchell about what was going on at Cherry Audio, they said that they'd acquired the intellectual property for a couple of pieces of software, one of which was the GG Blue 3, which is a modelled Hammond B3 organ. Modelled, not sampled. I want to point that out. So basically the guys behind the instruments wanted to come out of the software business, but they wanted to make sure that their software, which was very much loved and appreciated by many people, was looked after and developed. And Cherry Audio stepped in, and that's what they did. So this is technically not new, but it's an update. It costs just 49 of your US dollars. There it is. And if you are an owner or of one of the original ones, you get a discount on this upgrade. So it's not incredibly new, but it's really, really good. And I've been playing with, I've got a few Hammonds, and I'm not a Hammond organ aficionado or performer, but it sounds really, really, really good. And that whole new interface there is a Mal Meehan design, because he's been doing amazing interface work for them. It's just it's the little things. It's like that little lock on the bottom right hand corner, or that little scratch just on the side. It's the attention to detail, both sonically and visually, at Cherry Audio is pretty much second to none. Really, really good stuff here. I'm going to go to Mr. Longhurst first, because I know that you've been playing around with this for a little while. Your thoughts on this? Does it stand up to the other B3s that are out there?
No. It's
okay.
Straight answer. No, it doesn't. It's so much better. I mean, it really is. I've played
Sharp
B3s.
Intake of breath.
Yeah, I've played B3s a lot. I've played, Hammonds a decent amount over the years, and I love the sound. Texturally, you can stick a B3 or that sound in almost anywhere. You just have to play around with it a bit, and it sits comfortably. It's a great instrument. They've nailed this. When I'm playing with it for about 5-10 minutes, it's like you can smell the electronics. There is something about it. And of course, with the faders on this beauty, I was able to do the drawbars, or at least 8 of them. They've done such a good job on this. They have done such a good job, and the Leslie and Cab, emulations, mic positioning, all of that stuff. It's and it's not sample based, and I'm staggered. They've done such a good job. Yeah. It's one of my favourites already. Yeah. And by the way, I used it with something we're going to be talking about a little bit later on, so we'll get to that.
Indeed.
My God, yeah. Match made in heaven. It's a brilliant thing.
Yeah,
brilliant thing.
It's good.
And a tiny amount of processing power required to run it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a small footprint because it is modelled rather than sampled. Yeah. And to be fair, let's give credit where credit's due. This is built on something that was already established, but they've done a great job in bringing it bang up to date with a wonderful interface. Mr. Brooks, are you? Oh no, I'm not going to. I was going to say, are you an organ man? But
behave, Robbie. Just behave. Right. Okay.
Go on.
A plug-in. Actually, you know, if you're in the box and you want that sound for 40 quid, brilliant.
Exactly.
Brilliant. I mean, Grace and I are fortunate enough that we've got a Nord Electro 3 in the studio. It's not ours. It belongs to a friend of Grace's. But we use it, so it's got great piano sounds. And it's the one that's got those little slidey drawbars on. You put your fingers up and down and the little LEDs come on and stuff. And I love playing with that. I mean, I've never been particularly an organ fan, but I've never particularly disliked it. I mean, stop it. And
sorry,
yeah, God, stand in the naughty corner, child. And look, honestly, playing, but just playing that, I really like it. And it's like if you want that sound, if you need that sound as part of your setup, I think somebody in the chat mentioned, gospel choirs and that sort of thing. People playing in blues bands and all sorts. It's just essential. And because who wants to lug around a B3 organ?
Well, exactly.
Really, I mean, I know Hammond did a digital range in the late 80s, early 90s, which were again really well respected.
Still do, I think.
I'm going to just allow Synchrotron's comment through. So there we go. So I've got to moderate. I've got to talk and moderate. Bloody hell, fire.
Now how I feel.
And so yeah, great. And it's Cherry Audio. I mean, I've got a couple of little Cherry Audio plugins. I'm not a great plugin person, but I can turn around here and this keyboard here. Thank you, Kent. Will connect it to Ableton, and then so go fill your boots with it.
Yeah,
If that's
absolutely.
what you need, 40 quid.
Yeah.
Even if you decide you don't like it very much, it's not the end of the world, is it? So
it.
yeah,
And, I mean,
another great product, really.
Yeah, and a lot of people think, organ synthesizers. The amount of Hammond organ that exists in electronic music, by very well-known
Absolutely.
popular acts, it's everywhere. I mean, even if it's just subtle in the background, it's there. It's a classic sound.
Just before Mike jumps in, because I know he's going to have a decent amount to say about this. I don't know if any of you know, but I used to work for Emu System. I know, it's so new. But I've got the B3 set on here. We did a sample set for it, and we thought we did a really, really good job 24 years ago, a really good job. And I've used it a fair bit. However, this one, we talk often about it's the articulation. It's about the playability and performance. Mapping it to this, that plugin is just, it feels like the real thing. Like I say, you almost smell the electronics. So I'm blown away by it. Sorry, Mike, please do. You're muted.
Yeah, Dr. Mike, you were
Once again,
clearly
background noises.
Yeah, no. You were clearly around when the B3 was invented. So I mean,
Oh yes, obviously.
what's your take on this version?
Okay. First of all, yes, the oh wow, hello. It's good to have you here, Polly.
Stay focused. Stay focused.
Stay focused.
Oh, sorry. Anyway,
Priorities.
now they come by. So the B3 has a real history. Obviously, most people don't know this, but and the organ in general, as a facet of electronic music, has a real history. Klaus Schulze did at least one album, maybe two, before he ever owned a synthesizer, and it was all done with an organ that he packed up and circuited. So yeah, it's a sound that we all know, and it's actually an additive synthesizer, basically. So was the Piper, but whatever. The B3, I actually grew up in a house that had an L100. That's what I learned to play on.
Yeah.
And there's just something about tone wheels. And, you live with them long enough, you work with them. I'm not an organist. I've never claimed to be an organist.
Have you checked out this plugin at all, Mike?
Oh, yeah. What are you kidding me?
Yeah, and...
I don't have a lot of the specialized techniques that organists have. I've not played organ live on stage very much at all, and I certainly don't have anything with waterfall keys so that I could do smears without ripping my hand open. But the sound, oh my God. Just, oh my God, it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Cherry Audio did the right thing of making sure that these people's great work was still out there. I wasn't familiar with the original one, so I don't know anything about changes to the UI or anything like that. But what a gorgeous piece. And my God, I view companies that sell plugins for these very affordable prices as a contribution to the people who have the ideas and keep them going. If you like it, wonderful. If you don't, you've made a contribution to people who are doing all kinds of amazing work. And Cherry Audio, as far as I'm concerned, maybe they didn't create it themselves, but in terms of getting this beautiful instrument out to the public, I think they hit it out of the ballpark.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's another hit. And the reason that, because normally the tradition is that when Cherry Audio release a plugin, we get the guys on the show to tell us all about it because they're really keen to be on here. We support them and they support us and all of that kind of stuff. However, the reason they're not here is because they are there in Chicagoland.
Well, they're not here yet, but
they will be. Yeah, they're traveling.
Won't be. Dan is apparently doing some kind of vacation with his wife or something.
I know,
He's taking a vacation.
Yeah.
Bloody people taking vacations.
With his wife instead of with the synthesizers. And I just don't get this at all.
Happy anniversary, by the way, Dan.
But,
yeah.
Mitchell will be here and a couple of the other guys. So they're not here yet, or I'd have them say hello. But I'm looking forward to seeing them this weekend. Cool. I've never met them. And I know Dan. I've met Dan any number of times. But the other guys I've never met, so I'm looking forward to them.
Cool stuff. Excellent. So there you go. Cherry Audio, Blue 3. It's available from their website and other retailers too. Yes, you did read correctly that they have added some of their effects. There's a reverb, there's a delay, and is there an overdrive in there as well?
Yeah.
Tape echo, reverb, and graphic equalizer. Yeah. So you can add those to taste, but it's all completely modeled. So yeah, very good. There we go. So that's Blue 3. You can get from their website now, $49. If you are a previous owner of the GG Blue 3, then you can upgrade for a reduced price. I think they knock at least $10 off the price,
and it's worth every penny, regardless.
Yeah. And there are lots of B3 plugins out there, and some are expensive and some are very affordable. And this one's one of the very affordable ones, and it's up there sonically with the rest of them. So, great stuff from Cherry Audio as per usual. Dan and Mitchell, I guess, be those two again, will be back on the show sooner than you think. But that's all I can say about that. And let's move on to something else. Let's talk about the thing that Andy referenced, or Andrew. I'll call you Andrew, the old one. And then the good-looking one, I'll call Andy.
I am
that's
Andrew. It's my name.
Yeah, exactly. So Andrew and Andy, and that's how I'm going to differentiate. So Andrew mentioned this, which goes very nicely with a side dish of Blue 3. And there we go. So this, you might remember, it was a while ago, that we, I think it was myself, when myself, Chris and Ben were doing the show. We had a few plugins from this company. They're based out in Turkey, and Ziad is the guy behind it all. And they're making some incredible plugins. Real kind of top of the range, what you might call boutique, which is just a way of saying they're really, really good, maybe a little bit pricey, but they're very, very good, and that's the most important thing. Lunar Lander, you might remember Ben said he puts on everything. Literally everything goes on Lunar Lander now. And this is the new version of the P930 Lunar Lander, which is basically a delay and a reverb in kind of in the old modular style, but it sounds incredible. Let me just get the specs. I've got so many windows up here. I'm trying to do 100 things at once here. Here we go. So share this and stick this on the screen. So Lunar Lander. Yeah, so it's a delay and a reverb, and then it's just it's ultra controllable, and the stuff that you can do with this is incredible.
Don't forget the ducking function, ducking and gating on the right, because that just makes it astonishing.
Absolutely, yeah. It's so nice. I mean, it's one of those things you just really have to hear it do it. And actually, Ziad has put a whole bunch of demo videos on the Pulsar Modular channel, just demonstrating, just gently showing you how this thing works and what it does to your sound. It's just so very, very nice indeed. You can get a demo version of it, which will last for 40 days, functional across 2 computers. And then when you want to buy it, you can get it at the moment for a reduced rate from $180 to $135. I think that's very reasonable for a plugin of this quality. And if you want to save yourself effectively $180 or $135, pay attention over the next 10 minutes, because I'm going to be asking you all watching this show today a very simple question. The first 3 people that answer correctly will get a free copy of this, courtesy of our friends at Pulsar Modular. They don't sponsor the show. Woo. They just love what we do. Ziad got in touch and he said, we updated this. It's coming out first week in September. We'd like to give you 3 licenses to give away to your viewers. So if you are interested in owning this, get your little brains ready. Please try. I mean, I can't police this. Please try not to use Google. But if you have to, try. I've got the chat window on live chat, so I will see, and the first 3 people that I see come through on the live chat will get a free license code for this. But you need to remember, you're going to have to give me your email address for me to do that, okay? So if you're happy with sharing your email address with me, it goes no further. I'll throw it in the bin virtually. But yeah, you're going to get a free copy of this if you answer the question, one of the first 3 to answer the question that I will pose to you shortly. Anyway, I'm going to go back to Mr. Longhurst again, because he has been playing with this. Your thoughts? You're muted. That's the first thought.
There we go. Hi. Oh. Hi. For years, I loved and adored the TC electronic reverbs and delays, because they had this ducking and gating facility.
Tell us what that does.
What it does. So imagine you bang whatever it is, a brass or an organ, as I've been doing. I've been putting my organ through it. Been putting my organ through it, and you just pile on lots of reverb, so you get that really dense, lush, this really, really dense, lush thing. And as soon as you stop playing, depending on how you've set the ducking or gating, it will cut it off. So it means you can have these stabs and things which don't then take up the rest of the track for the next 5 seconds. It means you get real clarity. Or look at, what am I doing? I've got a new camera. I've got a new camera. Go away.
Oh God, you're doing the Kent thing, aren't you? Yeah.
So yes, I am. So the other way of doing that is, whilst you're playing, you can put a big reverb or delays or whatever on, and whilst you're playing, you don't hear it. You only hear the effect afterwards. So if you put a subtle delay on something, you're playing a rhythmic part and you put it in afterwards, then because you're ducking it whilst it's playing, you're not hearing the effect. As soon as you stop playing, you get that lovely rhythmic sort of pulsing thing going on. So it's a brilliant creative tool, and that in and of itself was enough. So I loved this when I heard it. But actually, the delay by itself and the reverb by itself are lush, as you like. There's a saturation thing on a saturation control on the reverb, which I've been playing around with and trying. They've got 3 different plates. And my gosh, it's lush, and it really does sound like a really good plate or a really good series of plates.
Yeah.
And there's nothing quite like that sound, especially on vocals or guitars or drums or whatever. Gated on drums, God, it's just
Yeah.
astonishing.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I love this. They've paid real attention to detail, the sound of it, the EQ, all of it. It just works.
Yeah.
And this is going to be being used over everything,
Yeah.
just like Benji.
Yeah. The one of the other things they do is a P42 climax saturation circuit, which is essentially like a transformer. They've got 3 of those operating here to give it that real kind of rich saturation, as well as the filtering and the bandwidth controls and all that kind of stuff. It really does, it says in the blurb, transform your Chihuahua synth to a Doberman synth. That analogy works. It does take something that's weak and weedy and just beef it up really nicely, but not aggressively. It's very, very nice.
Yeah, and the whole CS80 kind of sound thing, which we've got the GX and others going through it, just sound amazing, because it does sound like a really properly good big studio plate. Sounds Absolutely. Amazing.
Yeah. Dr. Mike, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, or if you had a chance to listen to the demos.
I have not used it, but the reputation is there. I would agree with Andrew. Ducking is a really, really cool thing that not enough of these long-tail time-based effects do. One of the things that's very important about doing a mix in electronic music is to make sure that things don't get cluttered. And ducking is a very musical way to get control of what your ambience is doing. If you set it right, it has a surprisingly small impact on the musicality of what you're trying to get across. And in terms of general overall clarity, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I tend to look at ducking less as a creative thing and more as housekeeping, but it's really important housekeeping. So anything that does it, and $135, we get used to these inexpensive or even freeware plugins, but these people have obviously put a lot of work into it. You listen to the examples that they have online; it's amazing. So,
and I'll tell you something else. When you're doing any kind of production for vocals, having a reverb which ducks down, a nice reverb tail which ducks down a space which ducks down whilst the singer is singing, whilst they're doing their lines, just enough so that you keep the clarity without muddying it up. Because sometimes you can end up with a lot of muddiness, especially with a dynamic performance where you're getting quiet bits and loud bits. This just deals with that, and it gives you real clarity, but still gives you that space. So I imagine, also for guitars, that kind of thing. I love it. I think that it's worth every penny. You
mentioned guitars. I know that Chris Cynthian, who obviously used to be on this show, was a massive fan of using it with his guitar setup, because he was the plank spanker amongst us, and loved using it with his guitars. So it lends itself to pretty much everything. Mr. Brooks, again, I just want to point out to everyone that Andy joined the show about 10 minutes beforehand, had no inkling of what we were talking about. So we've just asked him to react to stuff. So react to this. Shocked. You're muted, by the way. You're still muted. There you go.
I don't remember doing that. I don't know what on earth that was about. So anyway, plate reverbs. My lasting and abiding memory of plate reverbs is a visit to the Synthesizer Museum after it had closed to collect 2 EMT plate reverbs in a transit van and bring them back to Axis Studios in Sheffield, which was owned by the Comsat Angels. I don't even know if it's still there, but which was a beautiful studio with a great big Amec Angela desk. It was lovely. My mate Paul, God rest his soul, was the manager of that. But we drove down, me and Paul and Jamie, and oh my God, lifting these things up from because the synthesizer museum was down in this sort of like cellar.
So were these the 140s or?
Yes, basically they're the big, that look like mattresses for a double bed, but encased in hardboard with these big sheets of steel. I had no idea a plate reverb looked like that. 2 of them. I mean, so I've been scarred by plate reverb, literally, because they were so heavy, and but we brought those back. But it's funny because plate reverb is one of my go-tos on modules, on reverb programs, on reverb effects that I've got. I like a good plate reverb, and yeah, this one does sound special. It sounded special way back then. I remember that episode, listening to that and thinking, oh, this is really good.
They're very linear, aren't they?
It just goes. It's bright and metallic. So it's a step up from a spring, but not quite as good as a lexicon, if you know what I mean.
Indeed.
So yeah, and to fit it alongside an emulation of a Bucket Brigade delay, which I tend to like less. I like good clean digital delays, but I'm weird like that. So because I've got analog delays, I've got Bucket Brigade, and it's great, but it's not always. It can get a bit muddy. But yeah, the good old plates, why not?
Indeed. If you're interested in acquiring this plugin, it works across both Mac and PC. Audio units VST3 and AAX for Pro Tools. It's also Silicon ready and also works as a universal binary between Silicon and Intel CPUs on Macs, 64-bit on PC. And you just get a one-time challenge and response over the internet. That's it. There's no iLock or anything required for any of this. And your license works on up to 2 separate machines. So as I said before, it's available full price at $190 US, but you can have it at the moment for $135. I don't know how long that discount is for, but right now I'm going to give you the chance to have this for $0. £0.
Can we join in, or are we excluded because we're inside?
I'm afraid technically I've got to say you're excluded, unless of course 3 people don't get it, but I'm sure they will. I'm sorry, it's one of those things. I can't enter competitions. Sound on Sound. I can't do any of their stuff because technically,
Anyway, you don't like plugins.
Yeah, you're not a plugin guy. So,
Shut
if you
up.
fancy, are you ready? Crack your knuckles, stretch your arms and your muscles.
Go.
Your mental muscle is going to be required for this one. So I've got 3 copies of this plugin to give away to 3 of our viewers right now. All you've got to do is answer the following question. I'm looking for a name, and I want the first name and the surname. Okay, that's all I want. First name, surname. Of the last human being to walk on the surface of the moon. Go. First 3 names that come up in my chat window, I will shout them out and you will get a free copy. The last human being to walk on the surface of the moon.
Sting.
Give us your answers.
Lyric number 4. Well done.
And
Buzz Aldrin was the second one on the moon for 11.
But we've got 3. There we go.
Yeah,
we've got our first 3.
Stop,
We've got our
stop.
first 3. Okay, we've got Jason Crouch,
That's
Paul
your head.
Grooveside, and as I said, they were the first 3 that come through on my screen. So what did I say there? Jason Crouch. Let me just write that in. Jason Crouch, you have
And
one yourself.
legacy,
A copy.
and legacy hand.
Paul Grooveside. Let's just write that down here. And the last one I saw was Legacy
Did you need
Hand,
Eugene
indeed.
in
Legacy
there?
hand.
So Jason
Legacy
Crouch,
hand.
Paul Grooveside, and legacy hand.
There we go. Got all those names. That's good. So Jason
And
Paul
Pam Ayres.
and Legacy Hand, you have just won yourself a copy of
Double check that. I thought
Eugene
Asio-
Cernan, Apollo 17.
No, Asio Head was right
But-
before
but-
Jason and Paul on my display.
Yeah. So
he
yeah,
only
on your
said
display.
Cernan.
Unfortunately,
Asio Head only said Cernan.
Yeah, I did
Not
say at
the
the beginning,
Chiefs,
First
and
and
you did
last
say-
name. Got it.
I needed
Right.
the first and the
Sorry,
last name.
SEO head. I tried.
Yeah, he
And
did.
the first three
Yeah,
to come through on
sorry,
my
Bert.
my
Sorry,
screen. So yeah,
Bert.
sorry, Bert. Yeah, I did say at the beginning, I want the first name and the surname. So Jason Crouch, Paul Grooveside, and Legacy Hand, whatever your real name is. I will, if you can actually email. Let's see, which I'll get the right email for you, because we're actually prosynthnetwork@gmail.com. If you can email me at prosynthnetwork@gmail.com,
Including your username as well as your real name.
yes, please give me your real name and your email address. So preferably use the email, because this is the email address that you'll have to open an account with at Pulsar Modular to register your plugin. And then I will send you a code, and that code can be redeemed just the once individually for the 3 individuals. And you've just won yourself a $180 plugin. There you go. Well done, everyone. And can I also say a massive thank you to Ziad at Pulsar Modular for donating those 3 licenses, and for letting myself and Andrew and Kent have a play on that before it came out and get the feel of it. And
Thank you, Ziad.
Yep, we like it a lot, and thank you again. Still, I mean, after all these years, to Ziad for supporting us with his excellent products. Right,
Yay.
okay. And thank you to Eugene Cernan, who sadly is no longer with us. He died about 7 years ago, but last man to walk on the moon, last human being to walk on the moon. Hopefully, there'll be somebody else fairly soon, if the new project carries on. But yes, thank you. Right, let's move on.
Long as it's not run by Boeing, we should get there.
Indeed. Right, so gosh. That's a long holiday, isn't it, in space?
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Can you imagine?
Can I also, before we move on
All
to
right,
the
if
next
it was
thing,
Ibiza.
yeah, Glenn Diamond, thank you for your donation, and your comment is a delightful segue into our next thing. Any chance when Kent is better, can we compare the CS80, the real CS80, with the Model 77, or is that gross blasphemy? No, it's not.
It's a really good idea.
It's a very good idea, and one that we hoped to do this week, because Kent was going to familiarize himself with the plugin, and we were going to hopefully pick his brains about that. But unfortunately, as we said, Kent's not feeling very well, so we'll do that another time as soon as Kent's better, because as I said to someone earlier this week, the only person's opinion I care about when it comes to CS80s is his, because he knows them better than anyone else that I know. So
Absolutely does.
yeah, we will ask him that. But thank you for. I'm not quite sure where the 739 comes from.
Where does the 7039? Why £7.39?
I don't care. It's every penny is precious, and we love you for it. So yeah, let's talk about this thing which came out this week, and let me just find the video. Did I have a video for this? Yes, I did somewhere. Where are we? You've gone. There it is.
To the right.
Now, isn't it nice for a CS80 plugins advert to not heavily rely on typical CS80 fodder?
Yeah.
Although there was that little bit at the beginning that was obviously evocative of the kind of the Vangelis sound, which you can't get away from. But anyway, this is Model 77 from Softube, who are Swedish giants of plugin design. Let's just bring them up onto the screen. So here it is. Each of their software recreations of instruments are named after the year that synthesizer was released. Although when I was speaking to Kent earlier this week, he had a slight bone of contention. He thinks that it was 76. I seem to find 77 everywhere else I look on the net, but I'm not saying that Kent's wrong. Okay, but as Kent has said in the chat, The 8 came out in 76. Maybe it came out in Japan first. I don't know. Oh, it's by the by. I don't. Yeah. So what they've done is they've modelled a CS80, and they've used their own techniques to do this. But what they've also done is, you can probably tell from the interfaces, they simplified it somewhat to make it a lot easier to understand. Now, I've been playing around with this the last few days, and one of the things that happens is on certain patches, you get a little pop-up window at the bottom that comes and gives you a little bit more information about that particular patch that you can tweak and mess around with. But they've kind of simplified the layout a little bit. So if you've always kind of struggled with plugins that go over, over the top with realism, the CS80 front panel is quite daunting. This has made it a lot easier, but it also does sound very, very good. Now, Kent has been on record with us saying that the Arturia CS80 V4 is as close that any software company has got to getting the sound in a plugin. I really do want to know what he thinks of this, but so far I've been very impressed with this. It includes all the presets from the CS50, the CS60, and the CS80 as well, and a whole bunch of presets that have been specially created for this plugin. I'm very impressed with this, but I'm going to go to Mr. Brooks first, because we haven't gone to him first, and scare the living crap out of him. What do you think of this? Have you had a chance to listen to it at all?
Of course not.
No.
No. I have nothing to say, because I have had the good fortune to play on the CS80 that Kent has set up in his studio, and go, this is lovely, and actually for the first time really go, this actually is gorgeous, just to play it. The synthesis on it is a bit quirky and would take some time to learn, but just the feel and the response, yes, I get it. As far as a plugin goes, I think you'd have to be really intimately familiar with a CS80, as Kent is, to be able to judge whether the plugin is any good or not. But most people will go, does it respond to poly after touch? Great, we'll have that, and we'll probably enjoy it immensely.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that's
absolutely
what you're after, if you really want that, if you really want a CS80 sound, why not? There are others out there, aren't there? I mean, Arturia do one, and plenty of other people.
Cherry Audio.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's something for everyone, for sure.
It's a crowded market.
It is, but the choice is good. And Kent recommended the model 72, I think, which is the Mini Moog, and it's incredibly good. And again, Kent said this is as close to a Mini Moog as any piece of software has ever got. It has that tone. So Softube do a fantastic job, and I like the way that they've simplified the interface, and the price isn't that awful either. Mr. Brooks, not Mr. Brooks, Mr. Longhurst.
I was just
go on. Yeah.
I was going to say, all plugins are bound to sound exactly the same, but no two CS80s will sound exactly the same.
Exactly.
No two Mini Moogs will sound exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like these old cruddy things behind me. If you put them up against two others, they won't sound exactly the same because of the discrepancies. So it's always a difficult call. You might have somebody who's got a CS80 who calls this up and go, "Oh, it doesn't sound anything like a CS80 because it sounds different to what they've got."
Exactly.
It's worth bearing in mind.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we say this every time we kind of discuss the CS80, and it was our friend Manny Fernandez that coined the phrase. It's not the CS80 isn't the sound. It's the actual the whole instrument. It's that keyboard with the polyphonic aftertouch and everything else about it that makes it so unique.
The person who's playing it.
And the person, of course, yeah, absolutely. And you can't recreate the hardware part of an instrument in a plugin. But there is one thing to point out. Obviously, polyphonic aftertouch is synonymous with the CS80. And this responds to poly aftertouch. But as Steve Elbows points out in the chat, Arturia's is the only one that does it via MPE. And that caught me out because I plugged this in and I thought, oh, I'll go to the poly brute and I'll mess around with it. And I was just getting channel aftertouch. And it's because
the
my
poly brute not transmit poly aftertouch via MIDI?
no, this is the thing. I
Other
got
than
this
via
set on MPE mode.
Okay.
And not just standard poly after. As soon as I flicked it, there it was. It was all fine. But the Model 77 doesn't respond to poly aftertouch. I'm going to go to our synth historian in the room, the man who wrote a great book about brilliant synthesizers and has contributed to many, many more, including the latest publication from Bukes, the Minimoog book. But we're talking about CS80s. Dr. Mike Metley, thoughts on this addition to the oeuvre?
Well, before I do, speaking of plugins, James Terrace from
Mr.
Cherry
Terrace!
Audio. The guys just arrived.
Oh, welcome, James.
He's saying hello. And friend of the network, Eric Ribeiro.
Hey, Eric,
Hi,
nice to
Eric.
see you, man.
Yeah,
Cool
I'm afraid
stuff.
I'm going to be doing that a lot. So to answer your question, I'm a big fan of Softube modeling. I don't use a lot of their plugins myself, but I have to say, as you guys have said, it's a crowded market. And frankly, if I'm going to use a CS80 plugin, I'm going to use GX80. I'm sorry, I'm just going to, because I like the added GX features, etc. ad nauseum. I'm not going to. Oh yeah, hang on a second, James. They want MPE and GX80. They want it now.
I know. I kind of wanted to do that, but the reason why that's complicated is that there are 2 layers. So I'm not sure if we would know how to address MPE on a dual layer synth. We did it on a few.
Okay. Well, anyway, people asked. He answered.
Thank you.
But I love GX80, frankly, and if I want, for the kinds of sounds that I get out of a CS80, I use my Hydro synth flat out. But when I need something that integrates well with the DAW, I use GX80, and I'm not going to diss Model 77. I'm certainly not going to diss Softube because some of the stuff they do is amazing. But I'm just, that particular pair of boots has been built.
Yeah, it's very true, very true. Andrew, do you agree? Crowded market?
It is a very crowded market, and I've got the GX80 as well, and I've got the version 3 of the R2. I don't have version 4 yet, and I wasn't able to download a demo of this. I don't have a copy of this here, but I'm really desperate to try this one out, and the reason being, much as I love the GX80, and I do, because it just works with this, and I can set it up so that I'm getting a lot of the playability you get from the CS80 by just assigning controllers and knobs and sliders to the things I need to for ring mod and balance and brightness and all that stuff. I'm just missing the strip. But what I really like about the 77 from the demos that I've seen, which is why I'm kind of keen to try this, I have to say, is the CS80 has never been an easy beast for someone that doesn't know it well to understand. The signal path isn't clear, and the envelopes for the for the filters and things. There's IL and AL, initial level and after level, which until you get used to how they work together and then how they combine, to give shape and whatever to the envelope, it gets a bit puzzling. So it's a puzzling synth, and the sine wave as well. You can use the sine wave, which doesn't go through any of the filtering. You can use that to do a whole bunch of things. So what I'm really impressed with on the Model 77 is, for the first time, someone's actually done a layout. I know it's only on one layer at a time, but it actually makes a bit more sense going from left to right. And they do a couple of really good videos just explaining what IL and AL are, and even the people explaining it kind of go, I can't quite explain exactly how these work, but, and then they show you, and you kind of go, okay, I think I get that. It sounds pretty good. Again, I've played CS80s in the past a lot, and I think Andrew's I would dispute what Andy said, Andy Brooks, which is that each one of these emulations of the CS80 sounds very different, actually. You know, the 80, the Arturia one, and the GX, and you know, from what I've heard, there is a difference in the tonality of them.
Yeah, can I just jump in if that's all right?
Yeah, please.
I didn't mean that the different plugins all sound the same. I meant that a particular plugin will always sound the same.
Okay. Well,
yeah, so that if you've got the Arturia CS80, it will always sound the same because it's a piece of digital code, so it'll always sound the same. I was trying to just basically make the comparison between a digital emulation and the original analog machine.
Okay, so what?
So that there's no problem the fact that these different plugins actually have different sounds, because that in itself is sort of part of the territory.
Okay, so and forgive me if that's, you know, I didn't mean to.
No, it's absolutely fine. No, I understood
but
what you meant. I just wanted to clarify.
The really good thing about all three of these emulations is they have an aging thing. So each of them has a different way of essentially introducing some instability into the system. So you start getting filters. You know, each filter is slightly different. Each voice tuning. So because that's in there, you can get that emulation of instability. And also, as Manny said, it's not just about, if you're just using a MIDI file on it and playing it back, then yeah, you know, it's going to be pretty much the same. When you play it on an instrument that's set up to play it well,
I can concede that one.
Every single time it's slightly different. Every single time.
I think Manny's comment, if I remember rightly specifically, is it's not what's in the box, it is the box.
It is the box, yeah.
And that's very much the thing with the CS80, isn't it? Mike, you wanted to come in?
Kent just said, of all the bloody weeks for me not to be on.
Indeed, Kent.
Very, very quickly, if I may. For those of you who have never met him, this is Dave Lovelace. He is with the Bob Moog Foundation, and he is also the creator of the
Dave, the Bob Moog Foundation.
The best synth-based collector cartoon ever. I think I can say that pretty safely. So
because that's out of a pool of like maybe 15 or 20. There's so many of those types of comics out there. You know?
Yeah, I know.
I really had to fight to kind of rise to the top. I made it, man.
You did. The Bob Moog Foundation has been hugely helpful for us on the book, and they're.
Not here.
Okay.
So the last time I was here, I actually represented them in 2017, I think, and it was cool. That's when I first met Tom Oberheim. I think he was like the guest. I was like the honored guest that night, and it was fun. But I really didn't get to hang out with you or any of my friends or get to see any of the things because I was drawing cartoons and selling T-shirts and stickers for a good cause. But then I had to wait till like 5 o'clock to actually see the stuff. By then, everyone was already downstairs drinking bourbon, and it was kind of hard to see.
So this
year I'm here just for fun.
All right.
I flew out on my own dime. I'm not representing anyone. I'm wearing a few shirts, but because they're cool looking, not because I'm sponsored or anything. Wow, thanks. I'm gonna have to draw you a cartoon for that now.
You're not especially the one you did.
Well,
Just a couple what I did for you.
I think I have all of my things in one special folder. It's sealed, safe, and it's actually at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean right now. So it's safe from harm.
Yeah, I'll draw you.
Okay, yeah, he's gonna have to draw me now.
That's a Titanic achievement.
It's a Titanic achievement, says Longhurst.
Oh, okay. Define it with me.
Yeah.
Underneath my memorabilia pile that I'm hoping to build on this weekend with lots of other amazing friends that I haven't seen.
Yeah. All right.
Hey,
cool.
Good
Great to see him.
Hey, I'm going to go look for some bourbon. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. He's
Lovely
still
stuff.
trying to find a liquor store that'll actually sell him what he wants. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, if you ever read Keyboard Magazine in the 90s and early 2000s, there was a monthly cartoon called The Pack Rat, which was all about a rat who collected synthesizers. And Dave is the artist. He's also a very, very talented musician. He released a couple of albums under the artist name Parallax. And he's a really cool guy. And yeah, we draw cartoons for each other.
Excellent stuff. If people are wondering, you've joined the show late at all, and you're wondering where Mike is broadcasting from, he's broadcasting from his lounge at his home. It's a very large
reception
cavernous
area.
space.
Yeah.
Very large cavernous space. But no, I lie. He's coming live from KnobCon, the Distorted Dozen, which is number 12 in a series, ongoing series of events, organised and run by the wonderful, the marvellous Suit and Tie Guy, who I'm hoping at some point will venture past behind Mike and give us a wave, and Bubba
That's
as well.
not going to happen. That is
we
not
love
going to
Bubba.
happen. Right now, he's knee deep and set up over in the convention.
I wouldn't be
Probably not
surprised.
even see him until tomorrow.
Wouldn't be surprised. But anyway,
Sorry.
send him and Bubba our best. KnobCon is on. It starts later today. Everyone's setting up at the moment. If you haven't already, you can make it over to the Hyatt Regency Schaumburg in Chicagoland, in Illinois, USA. It's a $75 ticket. It's a 1-ticket, 3-day event. You pay a little bit more if you want to attend the big banquet that they have. I believe it's on the Saturday night. The Golden Knob Banquet. Oh, the jokes just line themselves up. But yeah, it's a fantastic show, and it always yields a huge amount of content for us to look over the next few days and weeks. And I really was hoping to get over there this year, but sadly that hasn't happened because of other things getting in the way. But what I will be going to, and we might as well give this a mention while we're here, is of course Super Booth 25 today has announced its dates, which is the 8th to the 10th of May next year at the usual place, Fez in Berlin. So mark those dates in your calendar. Tickets will go on sale a little bit later on this year, and expect more of the same, but bigger and better. And the one thing that really pleased me in the email that we received was that they have acknowledged the things that went really well, but they've also acknowledged the things that didn't go so well, i.e. catering was absolutely awful. Getting a beer, getting something to wash down with that beer was pretty awful, I have to say. I mean, Manny and I got pretty much sunstroke waiting for a Japanese pancake for like 2 hours, and in the end, it was crazy. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. But anyway, Super Booth 25, 8th to the 10th of May next year. Block that date in your calendar, and hopefully we will see you there. More on that, obviously, as we go through. Right, let's see if we can move on to the next thing. We've done that very quickly.
Hardware?
Well, what have we got here? Let's see. Well,
What is the next thing, Robbie?
I don't know, because we've got lots of little things, and I'm conscious we've only got 45 minutes.
Nobody needs to know how big our things are. Just pick some.
This is true. I was going to mention the Moog Muse update, but I'm not going to bother because it's just a firmware update, and it's fixed a few things, and it's added a couple of little things. And I'm imagining not a huge amount of people have got Moog Muses at the moment, but there is a Moog Muse update, 1.2 update. If you want it, go and get it. It's free. Why wouldn't you? We've talked about Super Booth. We've done Model 77. We've done that. Let's talk about this new, this took me by surprise yesterday. It's an early access thing for Roland Cloud subscribers. So if you've got Ultimate subscription on Roland Cloud, you can now download and play with this. That's it. That's all you get. That's the only thing that they've put out at the moment. It is called, and I don't know why, it's called Earth Piano. If you're an Ultimate Roland Cloud subscriber, you get early access. It's there in your accounts now. Go and download it. I've been playing with it. and it's a very nice sounding piano, and you've got a number of different piano options. You've got concert grands, studio grands, you've got uprights, you've got felts. So there's even a toy piano in there that sounds really, really nice. And all I can say about this is it's a really nice piano plug-in, but it doesn't do anything that, say, for example, Acoustic Sample C7 Grand, which is about 99 quid or 99 euros. It's an incredibly good piano. It's a nice collection of pianos, admittedly, and it will work in the Galaxius, and it will work across, as a plug-in across all of your doors. But Roland Cloud, please, I'm giving you my money every year, and this is the most up-to-date instrument that you can give us. I'm getting a little bit frustrated, shall we say, with Roland Cloud. I like pianos, don't get me wrong, but come on, there's so much more that you could be doing.
Man shakes fist at Cloud.
I know it's and they there's really not a lot of sorry, I got flies. I've got a little moth on my screen. There's not much I can really say about this. I mean, it sounds nice. It's a piano. Go figure. Anybody got any thoughts on this before we move on to the next thing?
Yeah.
Go on.
I think the Roland Cloud is predominantly it is synths and loops and samples and blah 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 blah. The piano is a good addition to it. If you've already got it, it's a really good addition, and the number of different pianos and the way you can treat them and the controls for it, I think this is a really good move by them. I think they needed to add this in. They need to do more with some of the other stuff as well, and they do. Yeah, they need to have a new. They need to have a new something, for God's sakes. But this is a good collection. If I don't subscribe to Roland Cloud, but if I did, I'd be very pleased that this suddenly turned up in my inbox, because all of these guys, Korg and the Yamaha, all these guys are doing updated piano collections, so they needed to do something, and I think it's a really good sounding collection. I'd be very happy to have it.
I guess if Roland Cloud was the only collection of instruments that you had, then yes, it's a nice thing to have. There was pianos in the SRX plugins that they have and other things, but but let's be honest, who's got just Roland Cloud and doesn't have maybe V collection or some of the other stuff? Maybe I'm just coming from a slightly privileged position and just going, another piano. Come on, where's the...
Some friends of mine have recently been looking for a keyboard for their daughter, who's getting into music production with someone else. And they've been trying to debate between lots of different keyboards that they could get. And they were looking at the Korg thing with poly aftertouch and controlling stuff on screen, plugins, etc. And they were looking at the Arturia. They were looking at all sorts of things. And they've particularly been looking at the Roland, because it actually comes, the keyboard they were looking at, which I can't remember off the top of my head, it comes with a bundle of presets already in sounds, but it also comes with a link, a live link to get them, to download stuff if they want to, which they have to pay for. But it means they could have these pianos as part of that, so they don't have to have the whole collection. They can just download the pianos, and it's something which was really important to them to be able to have that. So for new users just buying a keyboard, this could be, if it's a Roland thing, this could be a really good thing. But I completely get where Roland Cloud subscribers are at with this. I completely get that.
Metley, what do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Well, I think that
but because it's
getting piano
sound like a melody.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm piano tech do or die, and I don't believe, and this is a personal thing, I don't believe in subscription-based anything for the stuff I need to create my content. I won't do it. Because I've had too many subscriptions go bad. I've had stuff time bombed. So I'm never a good person to ask about Roland Cloud, except in the great generalities. I'm glad that it's out there. I think everybody needs, hell, people hated the wave stations, didn't have a piano patch. Having a piano is never a bad thing, and Longhurst made a very good point about the fact that there are people who are just getting started, and Roland Cloud is a good way to sort of give people a lot to work with very quickly. But aside from that particular user base, which is probably large, for those of us who are more experienced and have access to better alternatives, I personally just don't see the appeal.
Yeah, no, fair point. Last but not least, stroking his beard, Mr. Brooks. Have you any opinion? Because obviously we know you're not a plug-in guy, but
from the short clip you played, I thought it sounded lovely.
Oh, it does.
I mean, I'm quite particular about pianos, and the one thing that struck me about that one was how nice the actual hammer on the string actually sounded. I thought it sounded really nice.
They've got the mechanics down.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it sounded really good. I agree with Dr. Mike about subscription models. Not interested, and yet we all have subscription models. I've got an Amazon Prime one and a Disney Plus,
it's the way of the world.
And we don't think about that when we're watching crap on the telly. Oh my God! Yeah, I understand. I absolutely understand. Because as soon as you let that model, that subscription lapse, suddenly you can't use the things that you've done, and they're all stored on your computer. Yeah, no, I understand that. I really do.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a decent piano plug-in. Because I've got my 88 note weighted here, it tends to play synth sounds on it, and actually I haven't got a good piano plugin. So I know that you talk about Piano Tech is probably
it's my favorite because it's not samples, it's modeled and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that.
And I'd also actually can I ask a completely aside question?
Go for it.
Is there right? And and if not, can you bend Dan Goldstein's arm and say, can you do a CP80 model?
Well, because there are some out there, but
I'd really love.
There's a CP80 model included free with Piano Tech.
Is there?
Go to pianotech.com
right.
and just look at all the stuff you get for free. They have an enormous collection of historical
I haven't dug deep enough yet.
That just that's all free. You can buy the fancy models, the Bosendorf or the Bechstein. They've got a Kawhi and a Steinway and so on and so on.
Mr. Metley.
Don't let anybody in
Dr. Metley. Dr. Metley.
Dr. Metley, meet Dr. Fernandez.
I'm going to investigate. Dr. Mike, I'm going to investigate it. Thank you. Hiya, Mike. Hello, Dr. Metley.
So we'll connect. Yeah, he says we'll connect later. All right. So where was I? Oh yeah.
Piano Tech. You were shilling for Piano Tech.
The people who signed Piano Tech offer a gigantic library of historical instruments from the 19th and 18th centuries that sound amazing. And they also have a CP80. They have a CP80. So
dear.
That's what I recommend.
Oh bloody hell! Another rabbit hole to fall down. Oh
yeah, but the thing is though, if you get the least expensive version where you don't get a lot of control over screwing with the individual modeling things, just use the presets. It's freaking amazing. I almost never get under the hood to tweak the models like you can with the more expensive stuff. The cheapest version, I think it's called Piano Tech Stage. You can mess with the effects and you can load different models, and it's cheap.
I'm not really interested in getting deep and down and dirty and altering. A good range of nice pianos would just be happy. And if there's a good grand piano and a good upright piano,
also they've got one of those,
and a nice CP80. I'd be happy because
let's talk after the show. Let's talk after the show.
After Synthfest, I think it was last year. It might have been the year before. The Yamaha booth had a CP80 in the room, and stop it, Robbie. And I had a chance to play it, and I just loved it. I felt like Peter Gabriel for a minute, and I just. So Penguin of Death. Yeah, thanks. Okay, I get the message. Right. Andy's gone on long enough. I'll shut up now.
We've got lots to go through. Thank you, gentlemen, for your considered opinions. Next up, because I want to talk about this. Is this? This is Complete 15, or as Tom has put in, because a lot of people are angry about this, Incomplete 15. There's not a huge amount that's been added, shall we say, to the package. We were just talking about subscription packages, and of course that's not to everyone's taste, whereas I'm very surprised that's still... Complete is still a one-off purchase or upgrade thing, and there doesn't seem to be. Kent says more money I've got to find. This hasn't fallen foul
No, you
of the
don't,
subscription
Kent. You
model
really don't.
yet. What's new is not a lot, to be honest. I mean, a lot of these are the small sort of instruments and sample libraries that have been available elsewhere. I mean, recently released Alicia's Electric Keys, which is a very good CP70 plugin, or should I say, sample library. It's a very good one. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of other things. But it's really, there's Neutron 4, which you can get for free if you pre-order now. Contact 8 is an update. Isotope Ozone 11 standards in their Guitar Rig 7 Pro Massive X. Haven't had a play with Contact 8 yet, but looking forward to seeing if that's improved anything somewhat. How much is it? Let's have a look. If we go for the let's go for the ultimate package, because I think that's what most people will probably go for. Full version is just over £1,000, 1,079. But if you've already got it, then it's a £359 upgrade. Or if you're upgrading from collections, which is like the lesser version, it's £539,989 from Select. The collector's edition, which I believe does this all come preloaded onto like a hard drive or something. I'm not entirely sure. It used to. I'm not sure if it does still. But that's 1,600. So it really is one of those things that it's a big collection of stuff that is kind of one-stop shop for all your needs.
Wow.
But yeah, there you go. It's Complete 15 is available to pre-order now. Bearing in mind that we've only got about half an hour left. Let's go through. Mike, thoughts on Complete 15?
I don't use native instruments. Pass.
There we go. Mr. Brooks, thoughts on Complete 15?
Can't be asked. Pass.
Okay. Mr. Longhurst.
Where do I go with this? There are some significant updates in this. Contact 8. It's an expensive buy, but you get so much. If you like their instrumentation, it's a choice between this and Arturia, or maybe you get both. They're both extraordinary collections. I don't quite have a need for this, but I really seriously want Contact, and if Contact 8 is the new thing, I might look at the standard version at some point, just because there are so many instruments by other people made for Contact which are really good. So yeah. I mean, it's a good thing. Updating it, good. It seems very expensive.
Yeah, for me, it's not the something like V Collection offers me far more things that interest me. I have Contact, as I've said many a time. I only have Contact purely because I have to have it to review and mess around with things. So it's just kind of a tool. I rarely use it for anything at all. I'd rather go and use UVI Falcon instead. It's much nicer. And so. But if you are invested in the NI world, then this is probably a good thing for you. And I'd like to see what they've done with Contact 8, because I thought Contact 7 was a nice update. So hopefully that
I'd like to, if anyone from Native is listening, I would love to have one of their keyboards, one of their keyboards that do it all, and the collection for a month, just to try it out and see what the thing is. Because honestly, I've not done that. I've done it with V and the V collection, and there and also with the Korg stuff. That all works really. That works well. I'm sure this does as well. But I've not had one because it's just been such an expensive thing to get. So I'd be really happy to give it a proper full review at some point. But at the moment, I can't really. It was interesting because I was looking. I did a review of the Arturia Keylab Mark III a few weeks ago, and the way that integrates with V Collection is superb, and the way they've got it now integrating with DAWs. I mean, it's been integrated with DAWs for some while, but this particular version is very, very nice. And Astrolab as well. I mean,
Well, yeah, but I was going to say, looking at that, and I was looking at what else was around, and of course, you look at Novations controllers. And then you look at what Native Instruments do with with that their versions of controllers with that lovely big screen on there. And I was looking at a review of the Keylab by, I can't remember his name now, but he was talking about the fact that the Native Instrument plugins will automatically, the Arturia plugins will automatically map in the Native Instruments controller because they're all NKS compatible, which is the format you need. Whereas obviously in the Arturia controller, really only the Arturia plugins integrate as well, and everything else kind of is a bit of a workaround. But we're sport for choice, but Contact and all of that stuff works beautifully in their controllers.
Contact is great, and the NI controllers are good.
Yes, so I keep hearing.
They're really
but
good.
Yeah, if anybody, I've tried to get stuff out of Native Instruments before. Good luck.
Yeah, well,
I
I don't expect it, but it would be good to get a sense of it, to give some balance
for sure.
to because we don't really have that balance with their stuff. So
Absolutely.
just what it is.
So there we go. That's Native Instruments Complete 15 is ready to pre-order now. So Andy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I do want to say something.
Go on.
Back in the olden days,
when
I was doing paper rounds and things like that, and other stuff, we used very limited amounts of gear, very limited amounts of technology to make the best music we could with what we had. And I think that things like this are so far removed from it, where you've got absolutely everything possible you could possibly. I do not see it as a creative.
I agree.
A creative thing. I actually think that the limitations of what you've got bring out you as a musician and you as a performer and you as a creative individual. And I just shy away from this. My brain doesn't get it. If I learn your instruments. I mean, these two machines over here, I knew them intimately, inside out and backwards, what I could do, what I could get out, and I still do. And yeah, I've got all of this stuff over here, all of that, all of this, and there are things in there which still beflummox me because I've got too much too quick, the old modular thing, but actually it's still limited, and it focuses me on simple little things, functions, performances, and that is a benefit. It really is a benefit. And all these things which give you absolutely everything on a plate are a fallacy. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to change my mind. There we are. I've said my piece.
He said his piece. There we go.
And I agree. I absolutely agree.
Thank you, Dr. Mike.
When they dump all this stuff in your lap, somebody in Technomatic said choice paralysis is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
learned it as option anxiety.
Technomatic is a very wise man.
Option anxiety is what I call it. You're never sure if of all these things you're picking the right one. And as I've said multiple times on the show, I've started getting rid of gear in 2005. And every time my studio gets smaller, my output gets bigger.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
just to give some perspective on this is not the confirmation bias channel. I mean, I tend to agree with you guys. I've mentioned many times about limited systems, more creativity, but Complete 15 is out, and for those that want it, it is there. Not for me at the moment, but I get what you're saying.
If that's what you want.
What else do we have, Robbie?
Well, I was.
Shut up.
I need to move on, guys. I need to move on because we do have some important things to get in. Even if we are going to drop a few. Unfortunately, I don't like to share this one, but I'm going to have to because we have yet again lost one of our number. It seems to be a little bit too frequent these days. But it is with great sadness that it was announced earlier this week that Keith McMillan has passed away. And Keith is a name that I think most people know, whether they own any of his marvelous inventions or not. I think I probably knew him most from things like the Cuneo, if I pronounced that correctly, and a few other bits. But he was a significant individual within our industry, designing some amazing things. And very sadly, he passed away just this week, and was of really no age at all. So our condolences to Keith's family and friends. Does anybody have anything they just want to add? Mike, you probably knew him.
I would. Keith was a friend. So this is my and this was hard. This was really hard. Most people don't know that the keyboard Pro 4 is doing very well for them now. The initial Kickstarter to get it started almost didn't happen. I sort of helped it a little financially to get it started.
Dr. Mike, time to shut up. The people who are talking, we can't hear you because of the background noise.
Oh shoot! Is that any better?
Yeah, just get close.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been working with Keith off and on. He and I have had any number of arguments over best uses for his technology. He had a real talent for this stuff, and he, I miss him terribly already. He left far too early. I've owned probably one of everything of his. The Keyboard Pro 4 was a 3-year development, and I was sort of in touch with him all along the way. He pioneered really a lot of the stuff that we now take for granted in other platforms, and it's a terrible loss. It really is. Thanks for letting me say that.
Yeah. Andy?
Sorry, Andy, go.
Andy.
This Andy. Well,
that Andy.
I don't really know an awful lot about him other than all his products are valued and treasured by the people that use them. And there's a little sort of about that big little keyboard which has MIDI and CV and all sorts of things built into it. Which
Anybody who's at NobCon,
the Nexus, that's it.
sale.
The Nexus that people treasure. And I know a guy, Gary P. Hayes. I don't know if anybody knows him. Guy in Australia. I think he's British, but he lives out in Australia, and he does loads of modular stuff. And he has a little the little Nexus keyboard, And I just think, oh God, I've got to get hold of one of those. And I saw this news, and I thought, oh no, because I think like Mike said, he was an innovator doing things differently that gave people the things that they actually want to have. So a sad moment.
I should mention that KMI was at KnobCon last year. He had handed off largely a lot of the operations to a very good team of people. He may be gone, but I don't see KMI going away.
Are they going to keep producing things?
That's my understanding.
That's good news.
My understanding, and they've got some new stuff under development. So
cool.
He actually hadn't been directly involved with KMI for quite a while. He moved over to another company he was working with doing soft. Oh, for God's sake, Jim Coker, everybody. Jim Coker of 512. Jim. Two guys. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. But no, the company's going to be fine. Keith hasn't been directly involved in it for a while, and
good stuff.
Hopefully they'll be fine.
Longhurst, any last words you want to say on the matter?
Just very briefly, Keith McMillan was a maverick and a genius, and he, like so many who lead the way, he was the first mouse, not the second mouse. He didn't really get the cheese. I don't know if anyone knows, but he developed Zippy, which was sort of the forerunner of open sound control, which was the basis for MPE and MIDI 2. Just that, just that is a huge thing. So he's an extraordinary individual. We need more people. We need more Keith in this world. We often talk about that. We need more Keith, and it's a great shame he's gone.
Indeed. Thank you, gentlemen, for those. Before we move on to the last few little topics, I have to do this. We've had another donation from the Hand of Learning. Thank you for your donation, the Hand of Learning, for your £1.49.
You also had another one.
Some weirdo, has donated. He's a member of. Are you a YouTube member and a Patreon member?
I'm an idiot.
And he still donates.
He doesn't do subscriptions.
I don't do subscriptions. £1 and 11. Yeah, fuck off. £1 and 11 pence.
That's the advertising.
Just rounded it up.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Just rounded it up to £9, and I thought that would help you with your OCD.
No, I'm over that now. I'm over.
Robbie,
Okay.
can we talk very, very briefly, because there has been some chatter about it in the chat, as it were, about the version 2 update for Oz?
We can. I don't have I have to say, this is one of the things, Kent, I hope you're watching, because I was relying on you. That hopefully, because he's the only one of us that has got an Osmos, that he might have had an update and tell us about it. So let's just bring the information onto screen. I've only got the Gear News page open at the moment.
What I can tell you about it is that they've made all of the stuff, all of the controls, the MPE controls, all of it, available externally now. So the whole way that keyboard works, the glide, the glide, but polyphonic glide sort of thing they do, keyboard glide, that's now available and transmits out over MPE, plus a whole bunch of other stuff. They've increased the number of preset memories.
So the headline points here: glide in advanced MIDI mode, MPE arpeggiator in advanced MIDI mode, preset favorites and playlists, 2048 preset memories, modification of presets and playlists via program changes, new soundbank management system, and much more is the usual thing there. It's a completely free update for Osmos users. You can download it now, and from what I'm hearing, it's a very, very good update. I was going to show a little bit of the video, but it's just too darn big to get into my system. It sounds a bit odd, but yeah, there you go. First on this.
Sorry, it just makes me laugh.
He's a twonk, isn't he? He's a twonk, but we love him.
Kent Twonk.
Oh dear.
We need this much money. We need you ill more often.
Indeed, yes.
No. I take that back.
He's a very serious-looking chap.
He is. Yeah, I met him at Super Booth, I think.
Is that Romeo Burley?
I couldn't get
a little tiny.
It's that little. He looks like a young Boris Blanc. That's who I kept thinking of when I saw him.
He does.
He looks like Boris Blanc about 30 years ago. Anyway, let me just. Sorry, Mike. Can you just? Thank you, because the exterior noises. Right. I don't really know too much about the Osmos. I don't have one. I haven't played with one. The marketing guy there used to work for Arturia, and I know him very well. And I must hit him up for one to say, look, just send me one over so I can have a play with it and mess around.
Two,
yeah. I played around with it at various shows, and it's interesting. But what I found was most people were doing like Middle Eastern type sounds with it, because it just seems to lend itself to that kind of. That was a Middle Eastern instrument impression. Very good one. Any thoughts on this?
You mean not following the standard Western scale? Is that what you mean, Robbie?
Metley, do you have an Osmos?
I did. I was a member of the second wave of Kickstarter folks. Before mine arrived, I got to play it extensively at NAMM 2 years ago, and by the time I left NAMM, I'd sold it before I even got the box. The reason why is the Osmos is an extraordinary instrument, absolutely extraordinary. I've seen people do amazing things with it, but in my time with it at NAMM, I learned, and this was always a risk, that my particular keyboard style, my particular touch, my particular set of nuances, and the Osmos's did not line up. It is a player's instrument, and I was not the kind of player it worked with. It is amazing. I had a lot of fun with it, and I sold it to somebody who walked over to the booth with me and played it for 5 minutes and just bought mine on the spot. So the fact that you can now use all of that incredible expressiveness externally is amazing. And the fact that you can now hold 2,000 presets, considering the programming, the damn thing is basically the ninth layer of hell. It's all good. What can you say?
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely an instrument that you really have to kind of relearn the way you play to play it. So many people I've spoken to, the likes of Kent and Ty and others that said, you have to approach it with a fresh, open mind and not just play it just like any regular piano style keyboard. Is quite obvious. I know Steve Elbows is probably banging his screen at the moment because he's a massive fan of all things MPE, and I probably haven't covered enough of this to do it any sort of justice.
Well, we can do that. We can do that next week.
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
He's suffering from a migraine. He's having a hard time seeing the screen.
Fair enough. I've got off lightly then. I hope you feel better soon, mate. But yeah, so it's a free update and it's a welcome update, as by all the people I've spoken to have said that it's a good thing. And the Osmos is not a terribly expensive instrument when you consider what it's capable of doing. It's a proper synthesizer. Yeah.
Sorry, the arpeggiators are also now transmitting externally as well. Which is a really good thing. So as a controller.
Yeah, I need to invest because I didn't have much time to look into this, but I wanted to investigate the feature. Thank you. That they're talking about MPE arpeggiation in advanced MIDI mode, because this thing, the Polybrute 12, allows you to use the full touch mechanism to mess around with the arpeggiator, so you can mess around with individual notes within the arpeggiation. So the arpeggiation is going, and depending on how you're pressing those keys, you can just affect individual notes within the arpeggio, which is very interesting.
That's exactly what this is doing.
And this is what this is doing.
Which is a good thing. It's a good thing.
I genuinely think that the Osmos and the Polybrute 12 have really advanced the traditional keyboard.
And the Roly, of course.
Yeah, well, maybe not, because that's not a traditional keyboard, is it? I mean, let's be honest, it's a pile of gel laid out in the style of a traditional keyboard, but it does require a very different kind of technique. Whereas the Osmos and the PB12 can be played pretty much, in the same sort of way as you play anything. However, bearing in mind, that they have these extra abilities. But yeah, they've really changed the way that we approach this, and it's great. I think it's brilliant that
it is.
People often ask. I'm sometimes asked, where do you think? What's the next big thing? You get all this stuff. What's the next big thing? And I always think along the lines of, well, what method of synthesis could somebody come up with next? What I don't think about, and I should have done, is how are we expressing ourselves using what we've got? Articulation and expression. That's where the advancement has been in the last few years, and I think that's brilliant.
That's been my jam for 30 years.
Yeah, and it's just brilliant that we're finally getting the levels of expression within these instruments that we've been waiting for a very long time. Anyway, we've got 10 minutes left, so we've done that. We'll talk about IK Multimedia's T-Rack 6 next week, because I hope to get a copy of that, so at least we'll have something to talk about. I'm going to do two very quick Korg things. Guys, I don't need your input on this unless you desperately want to. But first of all, I want to mention this that came up in my newsfeed this evening, and I'm very disappointed because I can't make the opening. But Korg are opening up a gallery in Brentford, of all places, in West London, at the Musical Museum. And it's a static permanent exhibition with interactive displays and over 50 instruments. You can attend the opening free of charge. It's on Tuesday, I believe it's the 17th of September, but it runs from 10 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon, and I just can't make it down to London on a weekday, so I will get along to this at a weekend at some point. But if you go to korg.co.uk and look for the link to the gallery, go and have a look at that, because that's going to be really super interesting. And they're going to have the 3300 is going to be there, the new 3300. Hopefully they'll let people play it, because they didn't let many people play it at Super Booth. So hopefully you'll be able to get your hands on that. The Micro Korg 2 will also be there. So yeah, pop along, Korg Gallery. Whilst we're on the subject, unless anybody's got any burning statements to make about that, we've also got, and did promise I would mention these for him. This is our wonderful friend up in Scotland, Mark Barnes, has just released his 12th volume of wave state sounds, and I've been playing with those this afternoon.
Bloody hell, Robbie, a real hardware synthesizer. Woohoo.
I know, look at that. Well, sounds for a real hardware synthesizer.
That too.
There you go. So it's only $6.99, normally $8.99, which even at full price, it's stupid value for money. 20 meticulously crafted custom performances and 76 custom programs for £7 is bonkers, and they're really very, very good. Mark's done a nearly 20-minute demo video, so go and check that out. But go and, if you've got a wave state, you need these sounds in there. That's it. End of story.
Can I make a suggestion, Robbie?
Go.
We were going to, gentlefolk, discuss studio security
Yes,
in the
and
light
that's what
of
I was-
Andy's misfortunes. I think it deserves more than just the last couple of rush
Exactly.
seconds. So I would really like
Yeah.
to do this, and I'd love to
point,
get
Andy.
Andy on to talk about it maybe next week or whenever.
Let's just explain. So if you haven't heard, Synth Addict, Andy Joyce, huge friend of the show. He's one of our moderators.
Yep.
He's so well known across the whole community. He's a super, super lovely guy. You'll find, if you don't know him, then you're obviously not mingling in this community as well as you thought you might be. He's everywhere. He's lovely. But unfortunately, he got burgled a couple of weeks back. And they took, I believe, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, they took about $12,000 worth. Oh, 30, it's gone up $13,000.
Actually, he quoted me 15.
50. Wow, the numbers keep going. I mean, look, it's a ton of money. And a shit ton of gear has gone. And I don't know the exact details, so I'm not going to speculate, and none of us shall, because like I say, I think we need to speak to him directly. What I was going to talk about, because it put the willies up me, okay, it made me seriously think about my security. So I've in the last week or so, not only have I upped my insurance to like the maximum levels that it will give me, I've also made sure that everything is covered, and it is, thankfully, but I've also bought a security system. I've got security cameras and alarm anyway, but I've upped all of that because I'm just paranoid. Because what happened to me, and this is my little input, I got back from Italy on Sunday, didn't want to cook a meal, or didn't want my wife to be cooking a meal, so I just ordered an Indian takeaway to be delivered. And my front door is opposite my studio door. My studio door was open, and the guy delivers the food. He looks past my wife and goes, "Oh wow, look at that! Look, how many keyboards have you got in there?" And of course, I'd heard about Andy's misfortune. I'm like, "Shit, this isn't good," because now they know there's all this stuff in here. I mean, good luck taking half of it, because most of it weighs a ton. And I've got good security and good insurance, but that's not the point. So what I wanted to do, and we will do this maybe next week, I'll speak to Andy at some point. We're going to get Andy on, and hopefully he can talk us through. And then we'll maybe look at the options that we have all got, because there are so many of us that exist online, and we do our videos with this stuff in the background. And we tell each other, I'm going away on holiday. I mean, I went away on vacation, but the house was occupied, so I wasn't too worried because I knew it was being locked and watched, and there was always going to be somebody here. But if you go away and you kind of let somebody know, these bastards are out there watching. So
think about your security. If the other thing which I would like to suggest as well is, if Andy has a list of the gear and any serial numbers, any descriptors, anything he can provide us with, I'd love us to be able to post that up on our Patreon, wherever we can, on the website, on Facebook and all the channels. I'd love to be able to post that up and share it far and wide. I'll post it personally as well, so we can get it out into the world. So if anyone sees any of this stuff turn up, then we can try and help and get it back. And he's a good man, and he'd be good to help him out. So let's see what we can do.
Yeah, and if you've got dogs, great.
He's in the chat right now.
Yeah. Look, we'll speak later, Andy, and maybe we'll get you on the show, and we can talk through that, because I think it's very important. Even if it's not to do with burglary, it's just good to have good security, and I'm not just talking about things like cameras and alarms and locks and stuff, but logging everything, having the right insurance. I know that some of this stuff is very rare. I mean, there's only 140 of those in the world. Good luck in getting it out because it's going to take you a while. But these things, they're rare and they're valuable.
Well,
so yeah, there we go.
Good.
Excellent
Good.
stuff. Good. Right.
you,
So
Andy.
that's covered. So we've got 4 minutes now. The very last news item, which I will keep brief, but 2024 is this basically. It's Yamaha Synth's 50th anniversary. Christ, it seems only yesterday we were celebrating 40 years or 45 years. Now it's 50 years. 1974, when Yamaha entered the synthesizer business, and they've been there ever since, and they're still making stuff. I have to say that their online presence for this 50th anniversary so far is pretty limited. There's this kind of chronology thing which they've always had on their website. It's not the best thing in the world. I'm hoping that will change. There is some nice articles in the history section that you can go through. So plenty of chapters and interesting stuff, and you will learn a thing or two. But yeah, they've been around for 50 years. So that's going to lead me now to our special guest announcement for next week.
Can I give one more hint?
Go on then.
If you don't watch this show today and you want to watch it later, you can probably watch it on one of those network channels called Carry on, make the announcement.
Okay. Our special guest next week, and I'm very excited about this.
And shampoo.
Yeah, is the one and only. Oh no! Gosh, no! Sorry. That's Eric. That's Eric Bristow. That's the wrong Bristow. We've got Dave Bristow coming on the show next week. Dave, I had the pleasure of meeting Dave a while back. We've kept in touch and corresponded, and as part of the celebration, as far as we're concerned, of Yamaha's 50 years in synth, we're going to have Dave Bristow on the show next week. He's going to be here for the complete 2 hours. He's going to talk us through his time, not just with the DX7 and beyond, but also that, because he used to work on the CS80. He used to work on the CS80 as well. So, this guy has been and done some amazing things. He's made some of the most popular voices for synthesizers over the last 40 or 50 years. So we're really happy to have him on the show. And he lives out on the west coast of the US, up in near Seattle, I believe.
Yeah, he does.
And of course, he also used to work for a company. What were they called, Andrew?
Oh, who was it I used to work for? Akai? No. Oh, Emu.
No.
Emu, yeah. It'll be really good to see him again.
Exactly.
It'll be really good to see him again.
Yeah, Dave Bristow will be with us for the whole show next week, and we're going to talk about FM synthesis, but we'll also talk about other things as well, because he's not just all about the FM, but yeah, he's the daddy of the FM sounds. And so much so that I just very quickly wanted to play a little snippet of this video. Let's see. Let's choose. Which one should we choose?
That one.
This one. Anyway, there's a little clip. You can find more of those performances where he's doing some really cheesy stuff, but also some really funky stuff as well. Dave Bristow will be on the show.
Brilliant pianist as well.
Yes, and he's now a sort of accomplished accordion player. So
is he?
I'm
going to give him some shit for that.
Yeah.
Hey, Robbie, have you got a KX5 you don't need?
I haven't got a KX5 at all.
I wish I had one. I miss mine. I miss mine a lot.
I was over at David Vorhaus's studio a while back, and he's got a silver one just stood in the corner of his lounge. And I was just like, I wonder if he'd missed that. And yeah, he probably would. But yeah, it was. It's tempting. Yeah, I'd love
your
one.
mauling paws off my
one.
AC KX5, you horrible man.
He's not like that at all. He's not. He's very gentle.
I'm sure
he's very gentle. Anyway, there you go. That's a show. We've gone over time. First of all,
sorry. Before you do the end, I have just one very, very quick news item I have to get in here. The Turkish software developer KV331, after years and years of development, finally a few days ago dropped SynthMaster 3. That's worth an entire news thing on its own. But those of you who have been using SynthMaster 2.8, 2.9, 2.99, 2.999, 3 is out. It looks amazing. So yeah, synthmaster.com. Had to say it. Thank you.
Nick at Sonic State has been doing some good content on that. He got the developers on, and if you go to Sonic State channel, there's a load of good stuff on there. So go and check Nick out. Talking of other channels, hopefully tomorrow morning, Andy Synchrotron will be doing his normal thing at 10 a.m. UK time. I believe is Ramsey back tomorrow, or he's away again, isn't he? I think. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think next week he's back.
Yeah, I'm sure I read. Ian says he is back. Ian says he is back.
Oh, he is.
So hopefully,
is he back, Ian? Oh, cool.
Yeah,
All
2 p.m. UK for Ramsey. We'll be back same time, same place next week with Dave Brisson. Of course, there's other shows as well. I think Jamie is. I'm not sure if Jamie's back yet or not. He was going to do something again on a Sunday. But just keep a look at, and there's loads of great content out there on the YouTubes and various other places. So go and check all of those people out whilst we're not around. Dr. McLay, thank you as always for stepping in at the last moment and doing a solid job there from KnobCon 24.
Yep. I am sorry about the background noise, and if you are here at KnobCon, please look me up. And yeah, for what it's worth, before I realized that Keith was gone, I was actually thinning out my some of my controllers. I've actually got a Q Nexus here with me for the show, and if anybody wants to buy it, they should talk to me. But yeah, I'm going to be busy this weekend with a bunch of these people. I'm seeing more and more familiar faces pouring in. Paul Schreiber of Modular Rhythm and various other things is going to be the keynote speaker. He just walked. So yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. Find me. Love you guys.
Say hello to anyone that knows us. Thank you very much indeed. It's been most entertaining to see all the people there and have a quick look around what is a very sparsely populated event at the moment as they do set up. But great to have you. Mr. Brooks, as always, brilliant to see you as he blows smoke in my face, you dirty... thank you for joining us. Your plans this weekend? Anything...
plans for this weekend? Not very much. Grace is busy. We were talking about doing the hardware jams thing, but she's got other things on, which is fine.
She's in the chat.
She's in the chat. Just come in.
Yeah.
The next thing we've got in the calendar is Bristronica after party.
Oh yes.
So if anybody's coming down to Bristol for Bristronica and fancies a big party after the Saturday, then get your tickets and come and see us doing our... I think it'll be quite banging. It was quite banging last weekend, so it'll be quite banging, you know. So yeah, that's it. I'm focused over here on the modular and learning new tricks. That's what I've got to do. I've got a whole list of homework tasks that Grace has given me. And I've got a new module. Oh, where's it gone? Oh, no. Oh, where's it gone? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, it's a very tiny little thing there. Look at that. It looks very boring. But what this
What does that do? Hold your keys?
This is the modular equivalent of a Kenton MIDI interface in terms of it takes a little MIDI in on a what do you call it, a TRS jack, and then passes it all out through these on TRS jacks, because MIDI is becoming increasingly important in modular world.
They're catching up, aren't
ironically.
they?
Yeah. No, I mean, but I've got an increasing number of modules that actually require MIDI, so I bought myself a MIDI mult.
There you go.
So
Very
I've
nice.
got to put this in the rack and get it to send the right MIDI around the place. Yes.
Cool stuff. Well, listen, look, thank again to you for dropping in at the very last minute.
Happy
truly
to do it.
appreciate
I've enjoyed
it.
myself.
Truly
It's been a lot of fun, as
good,
always.
Good. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed. And finally to Mr. Longhurst, how are you?
Well, you can hear
Well, we don't want to. We want to hear what you're doing this week.
I've got a load of stuff to do this weekend. Looking to some time out. I'm going to, I'm going to have fun this weekend. We've got some friends over tomorrow.
Nice.
Playing some keyboards, doing some stuff, and playing with this beastie some more. I love
Yes,
this
it's
beastie.
good, isn't it? It's very
It's
good.
a good thing.
Very
so
good.
what about you? Anything planned?
I'm going to actually rest. Actually, I'm not going to rest. So when I got back from Italy, I got back from Italy on Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I completely relayed all of this. So I don't know if I can just quickly show. I know we've just been talking about stuff, but yeah. So I've relayed my studio, and it's all connected and working and doing good stuff. So that's what I've been doing. So I want to take a rest, but I've got shelves to put up in the front room.
DIY, man.
DIY, and then hopefully on Sunday I put my feet up for a day, and then I'm back to work on the Monday. So
Cool.
It's all busy.
Only thing I will say is I am just reviewing and upgrading my own security as well, much the same as you. So there we go. So I mean, we're insured, checking it all the time, but that thing with Andy made me think about that.
Exactly.
But anyway,
It's giving us the heebie-jeebies. But
keep an eye out for your stuff.
Indeed. Right, we will see you same time, same place next week. Don't forget, next week we are going to be joined by the programming legend that is Dave Bristow, responsible for some of the best loved sounds of the 1980s, or maybe the most hated. It all depends where you come from. But
I'll keep
Dave,
quiet, Robbie. I promise. I'll keep me gob shut.
He's also written some great stuff, books and stuff on the subject, so well worth looking into. Gentlemen, thank you to all our viewers.
Thanks, all.
Thank you very much indeed for your patronage.
Bye-bye from KnobCon.
Give us a like.
Kent. Get
Give us a
well,
like.
Kent.
Get well, Kent.
better,
Give us a
Kent.
subscribe.
Get well soon, Kent.
All of that stuff.
Subscribe, ring the bell. We love you.
Do all of that stuff. Take care. See you all soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.